Okay, good morning. I am in Calgary, downtown Calgary. I'm going to a new photography club that I found online through social media. So I'm going to do some shooting with that group today, and we'll see how the shots turn out. I don't know what really we'll be getting up to and the theme is, but we'll check that out. Probably be street photography and stuff. You can see some public art behind me on the wall. So yeah. We'll see how that goes, and that'll be the theme of the episode this week. Okay, well, I'm back at my desk, and we're going to have a look at some of the photos. I don't think we're going to do any editing today. I think for the most part, I'm just going to show you some of the things that I got up to with my photo group. And incidentally, it's locally. I mean, if you're a local viewer, it's called the Elko Photo Club, and I guess they try and do events like once a month, and they have a zine submission and a print swap event and some other things, so it's pretty cool. And yeah, coming up they have a submission for an exhibition for the Exposure Photography Festival, which is a big global festival that actually happens near where I am in Calgary. So I'm going to apply for that. I'll submit some pictures for that, and maybe I'll share some of the ones I do submit for that here. Anyways, so we ranged around, we met in Chinatown in Calgary, and we ranged around there, and there were some really sort of cool gritty street scenes and back alleyways and sort of exits to sort of multi-layered apartment and storefront or store rear end exits and things like that. Lots of stairwells and things like that went up sort of in weird areas, one of which I almost killed myself. I went up, I took this picture I thought was pretty cool, and as I was coming down, one of the stairs was actually sort of missing at the bottom, and I didn't notice, and I almost, with my big camera bag, went flying, but I caught myself, so no harm done. So that was kind of a near miss. This one was a image of one of these back alley situations, and it had, a random stairwell going up and two green doors, and I just thought that sort of funny symmetry of these green doors was too great to pass up. So I took a portrait shot of this one, and it turned out okay. Like, it's just sort of a bit of a street scene. In these images, because there's a lot of architecture, I did use the transform tool in Lightroom, which is where I edited these, and I made the verticals true vertical and stuff like that. So that was apart from the exposure editing and stuff like that, that was about as near the most amount of editing I did otherwise. So anyway, this one was kind of fun and had a bit of public art next to it, and just thought it was a neat pick. And then this one, was on a really quite a main street, and I love the fact that it's so messy. I don't know. I think I've said it before. I'm a weird photographer, but it was a real gritty sort of overflowing dumpster here, or skip if you're in the UK, and in this sort of gaping area of this wall, and had some art above it. It's like that's prettying up the area just because you have a huge garbage can, but you have some art above it, so that makes it a little prettier. Anyways, I thought this was an interesting pick, and it turned out pretty well, so I snapped that. And then this one was funny because we went into the Chinese Cultural Center in downtown Calgary, and it has several floors, and we went up the floors, and in one of the floors it had a little photography exhibition of some of the, I think it was for Veterans Day or Remembrance Day. I think it was for some of the conflict that the Chinese people and army had when they were invaded by Japan in World War II. So they had this whole photo exhibition, which was actually really interesting. So that was interesting. Anyways, this photo is on one of the floors. You know, there's windows, and I was looking out of the window. There's a huge parking lot nearby, and there's this guy stood in the middle of nowhere for a while, and I was like, what's going on there? So I started snapping pics, and I think he maybe was doing some sort of driving thing with his kid or something and getting him to park. But I just thought it looked funny how he was reserving a spot in a field of completely open area where he didn't need to like reserve a spot, so it kind of looked a bit mysterious what was going on. So I kind of edited it with that in mind to try and tell a story, and used the anamorphic crop ratio, and sort of did a bit of cinematic tweaking with the colors and stuff, and I thought that kind of turned out pretty well. And then this one is actually kind of near where I parked. It is a there's some public art in the background by some prolific artists in the area, and you can see the lanterns that lead into Chinatown. And I just thought this was kind of a chaotic mess of color and texture, and I just thought it was a neat photo. This was just a street scene of some people passing some art on some street art, and had some, you know, cool color to it with the teal and the blues. So I thought that was a good snap. Okay, and this one is still in the back streets of Chinatown. It is obviously a stairwell with a simple door in front of it. I just like the colors. The door is painted the same as this section of wall, and it just was an interesting pick. It's got the bins nearby, the recycling bins, and just sort of a neat. That's actually the stair that I almost like fell down. I sort of crept up there because these are people's houses and businesses. I'm just creeping around back there with my camera. So it was kind of an adventure. And yeah, those are the ones I almost fell down going back down. Anyways, yeah, the picture I liked turned out good. Well, I'm still downtown, and I met up with the group, having a great time taking pictures. So thanks for checking them out, and thank you for returning to the channel, and like, subscribe, and all that jazz if you feel so inclined. So this next one is fun. It is my entry into, there was a recent YouTube video by someone I've mentioned before, Andrew Banner, and he teamed up with a guy named Simon Byrne, who's also a really cool photographer. They both do, amongst other things, street photography. I've seen, I mean, Andrew does lots of things. Sometimes he does street photography. And so I think that Simon Byrne just decided to create this sort of challenge, and the nature of this challenge was go out and take pictures of things red, and limit yourself to that, like the theme of that challenge. So I mean, it was no more complicated than that. So anyways, as I was going around, I kind of wanted to spot a couple of things that fit that mold, and just take part from afar. And so this was my entry for that. Just a simple wool and downpipe, and wires, the whole thing painted red, and just sort of some interesting detail in there. And not it's not usual. I don't usually see it where someone paints over everything, like the cables and the downspouts and all the details on the wall in the same color. Like it's the wires and cable being painted is crazy. So, anyways, I thought that was kind of fun, and this was my entry in honor of those guys in that recent video and that challenge. And then after some of our street walk, our group went along the riverfront, and of course, it's sort of well past autumn here. So most of the leaves have been blown off the trees, and it's because of climate change. We should be under snow at the moment. We are. It's still sort of this brown in between point. But this one tree was clinging on to its golden leaves and was in the foreground of the city shot, and I just thought it was an interesting shot. And I snapped. You can see some umbrellas in the background, kind of a similar yellow color, and the buildings here are kind of quite colorful. So I thought that was an interesting shot. Yeah, then here's just one of the stores in the area that I took that I thought was interesting. Sort of encapsulates the whole area and had some sort of vivid colors, and you can just see some art going down the alleyway down the side. And I thought it looked had some good character to it, so that was a good one to snap. All right. Well, thanks for joining me again and checking out some of those images. And thanks again in general for turning to the channel. And would love to see you again next time.